Major funding for How to Spend an Hour has been provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting through the Eastern Educational Network, and by the support to your local PBS station by viewers like you. Thank you. The exchange of currency for goods and services happens all the time. You give someone money and they give you something like this shirt in return. Now, you probably don't put a lot of thought into transactions like this, but here in Ithaca, New York, they decided to take a closer look at the way money changes hands. And what they found out was that a lot of that money wasn't staying in Ithaca, but instead heading off to benefit people elsewhere. So in an effort to try to take back part of the local economy, they decided to create their own money, and they called this currency Ithaca Hours. Over the next 30 minutes, I'll introduce you to this unique monetary system. You'll find out why it's called an hour, who uses this unique currency, where they spend it, and along the way, we'll follow one of these bills to find out how to spend an hour. Nestled within the trees on the southern end of Cayuga Lake in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York lies the city of Ithaca. With a population of 30,000, Ithaca is a uniquely diverse community. As an educational center, it is home to Cornell University as well as Ithaca College. It also has a history as a textile manufacturer, and it is a major producer of salt for New York State. However, the city has also gained international notoriety for being an innovator in local economics. Like many communities, Ithaca was impacted by the nation's recession at the beginning of the 1990s. That's when local resident Paul Glover came up with the idea for creating a currency system which would be designed to benefit the local economy. A former journalist and activist, Paul Glover poured his energy into this idea. His efforts resulted in the formation of the Ithaca Hour. The concept was relatively simple: create a monetary system which would reinforce community trading and help keep more money in Ithaca, rather than having traditional federal dollars leave town shortly after they were spent.
And the idea is that they're only valued in the Ithaca area. So by people transacting and using Ithaca Hours instead of US dollars, the money that they spend stays locally. If they spend it at a store, that store has an incentive to find local suppliers for their services or goods and inputs. And if they spend it with other individuals, it tends to foster a strong sense of community and buying from your neighbors and self-reliance.
Nearly 10 years later, through a lot of hard work and perseverance, the Ithaca Hour has become a mainstay within the local economy. To date, nearly $75,000 worth of Ithaca Hours have been issued. Tens of thousands of purchases have been made with this cash, and along the way, new friendships have been created, coinciding with a better understanding of how money really works.
I mean, if you think about transactions that people make, purchases they make at big, distantly owned stores, chain stores or whatever, a lot of the resources that are turned over to that store in exchange for the goods that people buy disappear from the community. They go buy insurance elsewhere, and they hire contractors from who knows where, and it's all kind of centralized in some distant place. Whereas if you buy with a local currency, you know that those resources are going to stay in the community, that there'll be local artisans hired to paint the store sign or whatever it is. So there's really a strong commitment to taking advantage of the resources and talents in the local community, keeping our money within the Ithaca area where it can do good for our neighbors.
So why is it called an hour? Actually, the concept is quite simple. 1 hour is worth $10, because that is the average hourly salary in the Ithaca area. The hours notes come in denominations that follow this formula. So a half hour equals $5, a quarter hour is worth $2.50, and an eighth hour is equivalent to $1.25. And you can use Ithaca Hours to buy nearly anything. There are literally thousands of goods and services available, everything from groceries to carpentry to medical bills and even massages. Hundreds of local businesses and individuals accept Ithaca Hours as payment, with more people participating all of the time. So to start our journey with a typical Ithaca Hour, we begin here on the Ithaca Commons, a popular pedestrian mall often teeming with activity. The Commons is more than just a place to shop. It's an integral part of the Ithaca community, where you can experience everything from an impromptu jam session
Going to Kansas City, here I come.
to a free symphony concert. People from all walks of life come here to interact with each other. And because Ithaca Hours are such a personal way of exchanging money, it's here where a lot of Hours transactions take place, because a large majority of the businesses here on the Commons are locally owned, including Autumn Leaves Bookstore, which serves as the unofficial bank of Ithaca Hours. Joe Wetmore has been accepting Hours for purchases since they opened in 1993.
We do act as the bank for Ithaca Hours, so we have a large supply here. For some people, it's the economy that's easier to get into. For other people, it's an aspect of the community. I think everybody's got their own small list of reasons for it. The fact is, it's a part of Ithaca, and if you want to be a part of the Ithaca community, you can't ignore Ithaca Hours.
It's easy to get involved in the Ithaca Hours system. Everyone who agrees to accept Hours is given 2 hours, or the equivalent of $20. Every 8 months, they may receive an additional hour as a reward for continuing participation. Or you can simply go to Autumn Leaves Bookstore and trade in US dollars for the equivalent in Ithaca Hours. So either way, anyone can spend Ithaca Hours. So after you get your hours, one of the great places to spend them is at the Green Star Co-op. For nearly 3 decades, this unique grocery store has been a member-owned cooperative, which specializes in natural and organic foods.
The people who own the business and control the business and make decisions are member owners. It's very different from a traditional business structure because you have the people who use the business, own the business, and direct the business. It's so much more personal, which is, I think, one of the reasons that a lot of people like to shop here. When you use Ithaca Hours, you're frequently asked, how did you earn them? And normally, like when you're spending your money, your $10 bill or whatever, people don't usually say, hey, how'd you earn that? So instantly, there's an opportunity for more of a human connection, and I think that's great.
Another pit stop for the Ithaca Hour is here at the Science Center, a hands-on museum designed to teach kids of all ages the wonders of the world of science. And while you marvel at the 2-story kinetic ball machine, you can also discover the power of local currency by using Ithaca Hours for admission. Well, after all that bouncing around at the Science Center, the Ithaca Hour may need some adjustment. So it's off to the chiropractor, where Dr. Diane Repper is just one of many healthcare professionals who accepts Ithaca Hours for payment.
I'm an alternative person. My profession is alternative. And I like the idea of Ithaca money and keeping the money in the community and giving people an opportunity to pay for services sort of with their skills via some sort of, monetary system that wasn't necessarily dollars. I sort of like the idea about it changes what money is in a way. Like so many people want a lot of money to keep a lot of money and put a lot of money away, and this is money that you have to spend. This is money that you have to put back in the community.
Feel better. Good.
From there, the Ithaca Hour is able to sit in on a recording session at Rep Studio as a payment for studio time. Afterwards, it's time to cool off at Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream, which is just one of a few franchise businesses which participate in Ithaca Hours.
Our Ben & Jerry's store here has been participating for about 5 years. I believe that we get people who normally would not buy here, that they acquire Ithaca Hours somewhere. For a while we were one of the few places that accepted 100% downtown, and so a lot of people would just come here so they could spend them here because they didn't have a place where they could spend them without putting out US dollars also.
Many of the businesses that accept Ithaca Hours do so on a limited basis. This means they may only take a portion of the payment in Ithaca Hours. For example, here at the New York Pizzeria, you can only use a quarter hour toward the purchase of a large pizza. The reason for this is because once you get an Ithaca Hour, you need to make sure you can spend it somewhere. So if a business starts accepting too many, it may end up with an oversupply. To find out which businesses accept hours and for how much, you can consult the Our Town directory. Our Town's nearly 2,000 alphabetical listings let you know the who, what, and where of how to spend Ithaca Hours. Almost anything you can imagine is listed right here for easy reference, ranging from the bare necessities to the more sublime. The newspaper also features articles on local people who use and accept hours. It's a way to showcase how the Ithaca community has embraced this concept of local currency. Almost every aspect of the Ithaca Hour is locally based. The bills are designed by founder Paul Glover, who makes sure they showcase the many unique facets of the area. The commemorative hour, featuring local educator Beverly Martin, is the first paper money in the United States to honor an African American, and the 2-hour note depicts the portrait of a Native American. All the bills are printed locally in Ithaca. However, that doesn't mean Ithaca Hours can be easily counterfeited. Like a heartbeat, it's the repetitive cadence of the printing press which brings the Ithaca Hour to life. Today at Fine Line Printing, Andy Fendrick is keeping a close eye on the latest batch of 8th-hour notes, featuring the spotted salamander, an endangered creature found in the Ithaca area. Now when he's done, nearly 1,600 new bills will be ready for circulation. Because Ithaca Hours are multicolored, the bills must be run through the press a number of times, starting with the darkest color first. Andy must constantly inspect the progress of the printing to ensure all is going well. And throughout this process, there are many safeguards to protect against counterfeiting.
There's a few different things on the actual note that are kind of a copy guard. They're each numbered with a serial number, and there's some color change ink on the back side of the note, so if you put your hand over it, the heat from your fingers will change the color, and basically if you try to copy it, the heat from the copier will make the ink disappear. So it's pretty hard to get around that, and there's a few different coordination of colors on the bill that make it pretty hard to copy, so it doesn't come out right. My opinion, I think, is that until they've just changed the bill recently, this actually was probably, I would say, a little bit more complex than what the original dollar was.
Waiting in line for an available teller is next for the Ithaca Hour. Here at the Alternatives Federal Credit Union, Ithaca Hours are accepted as partial payments on a variety of transactions, such as loans, bank fees, and even mortgages.
We've been accepting Ithaca Hours to various degrees for many years. We started by accepting 1 Ithaca Hour per loan payment, and we have expanded that quite a bit. We now accept 2 Ithaca Hours per loan payment. We also accept Ithaca Hours for all of the fees we charge, which could be a $20 overdraft fee, it could be $600 in mortgage application fees. So there's a wide range of what we accept hours for.
And it's the inclusion of businesses like the credit union, which have helped solidify the Ithaca Hours as a legitimate and credible form of currency.
The fact that it's grown into more mainstream businesses at this point, I think, is a tremendous, tremendous step for Ithaca Hours, because it's gotten out of the context of, oh, well, you can use it at your chiropractor's office and the natural food store, and that's about it. There's a lot of credibility. People don't ask so often, what if these are counterfeit? What if they're worthless? What if the system goes belly up? What provides me with any sort of security in this currency? We don't hear that very much anymore. And we do see many, many, many different types of people using Ithaca Hours at the credit union. It used to be perhaps limited to more of a an alternative type person. And now we see many, many different types of people, different types of businesses all across the board using Ithaca Hours. So now we have this.
After being cooped up in the vault at the credit union, it's now time for the Ithaca Hour to get some fresh air. And for that, we follow it to the Ithaca Farmers Market. And it's here among the fresh fruits and vegetables where a lot of people are first introduced to the Ithaca Hour. For years now, every Saturday, vendors from all over the area have come to sell their wares. Farmers and artisans alike gather, with the majority of them accepting hours. And for the massive crowds that the farmers market attracts, it's a splendid showcase of how to spend an hour.
People like trading with people they know. They make friends with the vendors. They make friends with the small business people here. I've visited other communities and talked to them about Ithaca Hours and local currencies. And a lot of these communities say, we don't have a small business sector anymore. It's all national franchises.
We like the idea of it helping community-wise, spreading money locally. Promoting people to spend money locally and deal locally with their consumers.
Well, I sell my pottery here. This is my main outlet for sales. It's a great market. We've got over 100 members, vendors, and most of these people are small business people that are, this is their main place they sell their stuff.
We would give Ithaca Hours to a daycare provider for our child. The daycare provider would then buy bread with Ithaca Hours from a baker here, and then the baker would come to us and buy maple syrup with Ithaca Hours. So the Ithaca Hours would have this perfect circle of the three of us just kind of exchanging Ithaca Hour back and forth.
One of the reasons why market is a substantial outlet for my hours is the U.S. dollars that I get are always under pressure from a lot of things that I don't necessarily want to what I'm spending them on. Insurance, mortgage. A lot of the dollars that I earn just they're out of here right away. The hours can do multiple duty because they just keep circulating back through town, and that's why, while the number of hours that are actually in circulation are not a huge number, the amount of actual trade that's going on with hours is a substantial contribution to the local economy.
A big question surrounding the use of Ithaca Hours focuses around the tax implications. Well, just like regular dollars, Ithaca Hours are taxable income when used for professional goods or services. Now, because Ithaca Hours are real money, the amount of them in circulation must be monitored. And just like at the National Treasury, here in Ithaca they don't simply print a bunch of money just to increase the supply. And although there is no Alan Greenspan or the Federal Reserve in Ithaca, policies regarding Ithaca Hours are continually examined by the Ithaca Hours Board of Directors. They're a group of diverse local people who volunteer their time to ensure the Ithaca Hours program maintains its viability.
I think what we need to do is we need to sort of identify what are the absolute minimal tasks that need to be accomplished in order to keep the system running, and then to sort of focus on making this transition in the best way that we can.
Every month, the Ithaca Hours Board of Directors gathers to discuss policies surrounding the currency system. While the meetings certainly have a specific agenda, it's also an open exchange of ideas of how better to improve the operation of Ithaca Hours.
And Dan has a very firm notion, which I think is a very sound one, that we should know what it is that we want to do and then go look for the funding that's appropriate for that.
The goal of the board is really to sort of promote economic sustainability. To the extent that that is accomplished by getting more hours and getting more people to use hours, then that's what we want to do. It's not exactly clear that that completely replacing dollars with hours is the best approach, or even is desirable. But clearly, the more hours we have in circulation, the more ability we have to make grants and loans to businesses and nonprofit organizations and create sort of wealth where there wasn't wealth before.
What my thought was for this portion is that we basically list all of the issues that we see as being absolutely critical to the running of the system.
Because the primary goal of Ithaca Hours is to benefit the local economy, an integral part of the program consists of providing grants to community-based organizations. And a vivid example of this can be seen on the Ithaca Commons through its many colorful gardens.
The Youth Horticulture Apprentice Program is a program that we set up to get local teenagers involved in beautifying the commons. To supplement the salaries, I approached Ithaca Hours and spoke to them, and they came up with a grant so that the kids' salaries could be supplemented, and also educate the kids about the Ithaca Hours program.
Since the beginning, over 10% of the hours issued have been supplied to nonprofit organizations such as this. It's here among the construction where another important aspect of the Ithaca Hours program is very evident. David Elliott recently purchased this house with the help of Ithaca Hours. He received a personal loan to help pay for the much-needed renovations, a loan that is interest-free.
I needed as much money as I could get a hold of to put the work through here, so I got a $1,500 loan from the Ithaca Money Bank. It's interest-free, and I'm using some of it to pay the contractors. Plumber's taking 10%, and the general contractor took $400, and without that loan, it would have been real hard to make this work. Yeah, back in '91, Paul Glover, the founder of the program, approached me and a bunch of other people in the local grocery store and said, I'm starting this new barter system. It's currency-based rather than time-based. That was a system that was in Ithaca before and failed. And I signed on like a bunch of other people. Well, why not? We got $20 worth of the money for free for joining, and it can't risk anything there. It's $20 for free. And then after that, the directory of offerings grew slowly over the next year. And then soon businesses started accepting it, and soon the thing became an institution. And now I carry the money around in my wallet just like I do cash, and it's got a stable exchange value just like a U.S. dollar in a store. So I don't really think twice about it anymore. It works because it keeps money in the community a little longer than other money, and typically you spend $1 and it leaves town after several transactions. It helps build community because it gets people talking to each other. And in my case, it got me interest-free loans. So there's a bunch of reasons just average folks would be interested. At first, it started out more as a hippie community sort of thing. And now there's, John, the general contractor, and Dave, the plumber. Just average folks are taking it now. So it's helping out businesses.
Well, a construction site can be dangerous for an Ithaca Hour. But if it does get hurt, it can always head to the local hospital, because the Cayuga Medical Center is another community institution which accepts Ithaca Hours. Patients at the hospital can pay a quarter hour toward their insurance co-payments. The hospital also participates in the Ithaca Health Fund. Inspired by the Ithaca Hours program, the Health Fund is designed to provide a safety net for people who are uninsured or underinsured. It's the first locally based, member-controlled, non-profit health financing system in America, and over 400 area residents have joined so far.
It's a national problem that people are underinsured or have no insurance, and so this is a very unique approach to meeting a growing and local need. We just think it's a wonderful initiative that benefits the community, benefits patients, certainly benefits the hospital.
Spreading the word about Ithaca Hours is an important aspect of the success of the program. Although the program is now administered by the board of directors, founder Paul Glover still spends much of his time talking to businesses and individuals about the benefits of using Ithaca Hours. And to help other people learn about Ithaca Hours, an ATM was created. Although here in Ithaca, ATM stands for Animated Teller Machine. It's a portable information booth that allows people to find out more about this unique program. Ithaca Hours has also taken its message to the internet. On the Ithaca Hours webpage, you can learn about the program as well as get a complete list of the businesses that participate in the program. The impact of the success of Ithaca Hours has traveled well beyond Ithaca's city limits. Over 50 other communities across North America have created local currency systems based on the Ithaca Hours model, and many more have plans to begin similar programs. And people from other countries often visit the Ithaca area to learn more about the Hours program. Well, as you can see, an hour can travel quite a long distance in just a short period of time, visiting a wide variety of people, places, and businesses, all while staying right here in Ithaca, New York. Since its beginning, the Ithaca Hour has continued to gain acceptance and increase its usage. Many people have embraced the idea of creating community economics by using local currency. And as more and more communities across the country adopt similar programs, this idea of local empowerment will indeed continue to flourish, just like the Ithaca Hour. I'm Peter Johans. If you would like to purchase your own copy of How to Spend an Hour, please send a check or money order for $19.95 to the address listed below, or click on WCNY's homepage. Major funding for How to Spend an Hour has been provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting through the Eastern Educational Network, and by the support to your local PBS station by viewers like you. Thank you.